I'm headed down to the Natural Resources Committee where I will be presenting my bill to rename the Gulf of America. I'm very excited that the Natural Resources Committee is going to be looking at my bill, looking and hoping for it to be passed through the committee so that we can move it to the House to pass it on the House floor. This will codify President Trump's executive order to rename the Gulf of America.
The past 48 hours have made two things incredibly clear. Donald Trump is running the dumbest administration in American history, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is the dumbest member of Congress in American history. Amid one of the worst national security scandals we have ever seen in America, Marjorie Taylor Greene decided to insert herself into the middle of it with one of the stupidest decisions I have ever seen. She was rightfully shredded for it in front of Congress. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. If you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into Marjorie Taylor Greene and her getting called out, I want to hear from a real leader in Georgia, and that is John, who is shredding Donald Trump's administration.
They were discussing the timing of sending U.S. air crews into enemy airspace where they faced an air defense threat, correct?
I'm going to, Senator, defer to the other principles that you're referring to about what the meaning and the context of what they were on.
They're talking about the timing of U.S. airstrikes, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and therefore the timing of sending U.S. air crews into hostile airspace, correct?
Yes.
And therefore the time period during which enemy air defenses could target U.S. air crews flying in enemy airspace, correct?
I don't know that.
You do know that. Let me ask this question, General Hawk. You lead America's signals intelligence collection. Would the private deliberation of foreign senior officials about the wisdom and timing of potential military action be a collection priority for you and the U.S. intelligence community?
Senator, it's our job to do indications and warning for both the plans and intentions of adversary leaders and for military commanders.
And would not information about the timing of airstrikes allow a military to pre-position or cue air defense systems to shoot down enemy aircraft?
I think, Senator, from our perspective, any advance warning is something that we certainly are trying to protect.
Yeah. Director Radcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No, Director Radcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you hold on. A national political reporter
you can characterize it how you want.
Was made privy to sensitive information about imminent military operations against a foreign terrorist organization.
Mistake of adding a reporter,
and that wasn't a huge mistake. That wasn't a huge mistake.
Well, I think they characterize it as
an embarrassment. This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content.
On a day as serious as today, of course, you would expect Republicans to be doing everything they can to spin this story and propagate for Donald Trump, but you wouldn't expect them to try to make it worse, which is exactly what Marjorie Taylor Greene did. She wanted to offer up a solution to our biggest national security problem, which she doesn't think is Donald Trump's deranged behavior, or Pete Heth having about 8 drinks a day, or Mike Waltz not knowing what a group chat is. No, she thinks it's something else. I'll let you hear what she thinks it is.
I'm headed down to the Natural Resources Committee where I will be presenting my bill to rename the Gulf of America. I'm very excited that the Natural Resources Committee is going to be looking at my bill, looking and hoping for it to be passed through the committee so that we can move it to the House to pass it on the House floor. This will codify President Trump's executive order to rename the Gulf of America.
Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks our biggest national security threat, is not properly naming the Gulf of Mexico. What? There has never been someone stupider. There has never been a worse bootlicker, and that's exactly what Marjorie Taylor Greene was ripped to shreds for in a great takedown right here.
I'm in my 13th year in Congress. I've never seen anything, even remotely like the gentlelady from Georgia's bill, to curry favor with Donald Trump by affirming his swaggering ignorance in trying to rename the Gulf of Mexico. This is just remarkable new stuff in this committee, just bootlicking sycophancy of the highest order. And the only point of this bill, and everybody knows it, is just to kiss up to Donald Trump. All of you know that this is not a serious bill. Surely many of you are embarrassed by this naked tribute to the cult leader, but here we are. We're actually dedicating committee time to this joke of a bill. And of all of the unserious things that have been said about this deeply unserious bill, perhaps the biggest joke of all is the suggestion that it has something to do with national security. The sponsor of the bill mentioned national security. One of the witnesses talked about this as if somehow kissing up to Donald Trump and renaming the Gulf of Mexico will make us safer. I mean, come on. Anyone who wants to be taken seriously about national security should be talking about one thing and one thing only today. Reporting from The Atlantic yesterday revealed that senior Trump administration officials, including the Vice President, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, Director of National Intelligence, U.S. National Security Advisor, and White House Chief of Staff, debated and coordinated an airstrike on a foreign adversary in the Middle East using the messaging app Signal. The conversation, which included an exchange of classified information over a non-secure platform on non-secure devices, was complete with craven political justification for the strike, middle school-style celebration of an attack that actually killed people, and yes, even emojis. And the reason we know all this is they accidentally included the editor of The Atlantic in the text chain. Unfortunately, unlike the Gulf of America legislation before us, this is not a joke. What it is a breathtaking breach of national security and public trust that makes Americans less safe and makes our country the laughingstock of the world. Imagine if instead of fat-fingering the Signal handle of a reporter, one of these clowns had looped in a less responsible journalist, or a reporter with Putin's RT, or maybe a defense or an intelligence contact with opposing views of the conflict in Yemen, maybe someone motivated to leak it. Kevin Carroll, a national security lawyer and former CIA officer, said it best in the Washington Post yesterday evening. If these people were junior uniformed personnel, they would be court-martialed. So where's the accountability? Where's the outrage from my friends across the aisle? I heard Speaker Johnson call this a mistake, just sort of shrug it off and say that the administration would learn from it. This is not a mistake. This is a fireable offense. The president put these incompetent people in position to safeguard our country's sensitive defense and security information, and instead they're treating it like they're in some kind of a March Madness chat group with their fraternity brothers. Anyone who wants to be taken seriously on national security should be focused on this today. Not trying to break the Endangered Species Act or kill wolves or rename bodies of water to appease a petulant.
I cannot believe we've stooped to a new low. I didn't know there was a new low to go to. Marjorie Taylor Greene is making history right now for once again, and we just have to use plain language, being the dumbest member of Congress we've ever seen. What about this moment makes you think we need to talk about the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America? I'm not going to call it that. It's stupid. These people do not care, fundamentally. Everything they ever said about backing the blue was a lie. We saw that on January 6th. They said we've got to cut off funding to Ukraine so we can take care of our boys at home. And then they cut the VA. Now, these national security China hawks don't care that our sensitive war docs are leaking to Elon Musk and reporters at The Atlantic. This is absolute insanity. It's crazy. And that's why we continue to see Democrats rip into Donald Trump and his whole administration, like we saw right here.
Create a hoax that allowed him to become part of this signal thread? Please answer the question. You don't insult the intelligence of the American people. Did he invite himself to the signal thread?
I don't know how he was invited, but clearly he was added.
Clearly it was. Finish your sentence, please.
Clearly he was added to the signal group. Your question is...
You don't know that the president's national security advisor invited him to join the signal thread? Everybody in America knows that. Does the CIA director not know that?
I've seen conflicting reports about who added the reporter to the signal messaging group.
You think that it's perfectly appropriate that there was a reporter added, especially one that the Secretary of Defense says is deceitful, highly discredited, a so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes over and over again? Is your testimony that it was appropriate that he was added to this signal thread?
No, of course not. And
why did you not call?
Hold on, Senator.
You're
mischaracterizing my testimony.
Good. You answered the question. Let me ask you: when he was added to the thread, you're the CIA director. Why didn't you call out that he was present on the signal thread?
I don't know if you use signal messaging app.
I do, not for classified information, not for targeting,
well, neither
not
do I,
for
Senator.
anything remote.
Neither do I, Senator.
Well, that's what your testimony is today.
It absolutely is not, Senator. Were you not listening at the beginning?
No.
When I said that I was using it as permitted, it is permissible to use.
I agree that's your testimony.
Yeah.
I agree that's your testimony. You asked me if I use it, and I said not for targeting, not for classified information.
And I said I don't either.
I also know Jeff Goldberg. I don't use it to communicate with him. But you thought it was appropriate. By the way, I think he's one of the more outstanding journalists in America.
Democrats need to be seizing on this moment. Donald Trump pitched an administration that, sure, might have some mean tweets, as he likes to call it, here and there, but the economy would be great, so you wouldn't care about the chaos. And now it's a garbage economy with more dangerous chaos than we have ever seen before. We have to seize on this and call him out. Donald Trump is running an administration with the stupidest people in the world and the richest people in the world to serve themselves. We have to call it out, and we're going to every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.
Democrats need to be seizing on this moment. Donald Trump pitched an administration that sure might have some mean tweets, as he likes to call it here and there, but the economy would be great, so you wouldn't care about the chaos. Now, it's a garbage economy with more dangerous chaos than we have ever seen before. We have to seize on this and call him out. Donald Trump is running an administration with the stupidest people in the world and the richest people in the world serving themselves. We have to call it out, and we're going to do it every single day on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.